Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's episode of Livestream Happy Hour. I am your host, Eric Brayman, and I am so excited to be joined today with Treylon Day. Treylon, hey!
How y'all doing? How you doing, Eric? Thank you for having
So
me on the
good. I
show.
am living the dream and getting to hang out with you for the next hour, so this is literally the best that we could possibly imagine. So I'll go ahead and go through our kind of beginning of the live stream, a little bit welcome and information bits, and then we'll jump right on in and learning more about Treylon Day and Day in the Life Entertainment. So the live stream happy hour was started almost exactly a year ago this week, and at the beginning of the pandemic breaking out. And it was intended as a way for us to be able to make sure that in these times when it's hard to connect in person or be able to have these kind of normalcy that we've been used to prior to this past year, that we can still connect our artists and connect our community together to the arts. And so the live stream happy hour was started to be able to highlight some of the amazing artists in our community and arts promoters, like we're going to get to hear today, and make sure that they could get connected with the audiences that participate and engage in our media. So for all of y'all who are watching today, please feel free to participate. Jump on the comment section, add questions, thoughts, reactions, etc., for us to be able to pose and bring right here to Treylon to the conversation. You are as much a part of this as we can possibly imagine. So thank you for joining us in this digital sphere. This is also a great opportunity for us to remind you of the impact and the power of the arts in our community. And this year has been a really trying and difficult year for so many arts and civil rights organizations in our community. And it is really important that we as a community continue to step up and support those organizations to continue to promote the thriving arts that we have here in our community and thriving activism that we have in our community. So we encourage you to please make a contribution to an arts organization that means a lot to you today. That could be Lane Arts Council, but we also know that it could be any other arts organization in our community. Also, consider giving to a civil rights organization who is doing meaningful work in our community to activate and advocate for the voices in our community that are so often not heard. So please do consider making a contribution. And we know that people who give donations to one location often give to multiple locations. So after you make that first donation, go find another organization you care deeply about and make a contribution there as well. It takes all of us coming together to make sure that the arts and the civil rights action can continue to happen in our community, can thrive, and we can come out of this as strong as we entered into this, if not stronger. So that is, I am off my soapbox, and it's time to transition the conversation over and hear a little bit more about Treylon. So I gotta hear a little bit more about this. So Treylon, tell us a little bit about Day in the Life Entertainment and how you started this art promotion business.
Okay, so Day in the Life Entertainment started back when I was in college. It started when I was at LCC, Lane Community College. I was a part of the Black Student Union. I worked my way from secretary all the way to the president in that organization. And so from there, we do a lot of events in the community. We would do a lot of events on the campus, just trying to get people involved and stuff like that to learn about, people of color, the history, and just to try to get people aware of what's going on around them. And then from there, that's where I kind of just found my niche in communicating, just trying to reach out to people. If they were artists, have them a part of big events and stuff like that we were having. And so from there, I went to school for English and literature, but, I don't know if you know, or if a lot of you know, but not everybody, gets a good job right after school with the English and literature degree. So, I just thought about, I got to find a different way to, find a means of income for myself. So I thought about all the experience from the BSU and just was like, okay, I'm gonna start up a business. And from there, I just was like, how can I connect people, have great occasions, work with people, build people up. And that's how Day in the Life kind of came together.
I love it. Well, it sounds like we have something in common. I also have a degree in literature. I got one in creative writing. So I know that struggle of trying to translate sometimes. And yet it is something that really does, degrees in things like creative writing, in the arts and things like that. There are intrinsic skills that are gained through those programs. And they don't always just translate into the form of writing. Sometimes it also translates into things like this, because you're doing really innovative ways to draw attention to the artists in our community. And to be able to hone into some of that work that you're doing with the Black Student Union there and see the skills that were gained through that kind of event programming that you did is really exciting to see. So break it down for us a little bit more and tell us a little bit about what are the roles and responsibilities of a promoter and that you've really infused into your business.
Yeah, so day in the life entertainment, I tell a lot of people this, I wear a lot of hats. So I'm an event planner, promoter, talent scout, entertainment coordinator, manager, uh, you know, therapist if artists need that, so I do a lot of jobs, but my responsibility in terms as a promoter, I try to connect with local artists in town and try to find a way to give them a platform so that they can broadcast themselves to the community.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the events that I create, I do it, all by myself, with a little help from different people, whether that be a graphic designer, or just resources in the community. And from there, I kind of grab the artists that I know or artists that reach out to me, and I just give them the platform to kind of just put their music out there. And if they have merchandise, I help with means of social media marketing. If they have music on SoundCloud, we try to create landing pages for them so that they can be able to have people, directed to one site where they can find all of their catalog of music, just about them, learn more about them and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
my job as a promoter, I try to find different ways on social media and like with events, to try to tie the two together with any artist that I work with, whether that be a musician or a visual painter or anybody.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I love it. And it's really exciting to be able to hear this side of the art making and art promotion, the business of art, right? That a lot of times they think we get honed into kind of thinking it's just the thing that's being seen in the gallery or the thing that's being seen on stage. And there's so much work that goes into bringing it to that space. And, the art of management and the art of administration, the behind the scenes work is just as essential as
Yeah.
those artists who are creating the work. And to get that kind of support for an artist too, who often, I've been in spaces where I've been the creator and it's been like, I don't know what to do with this thing that I've created. I need somebody to help me figure out, like, I'm not a marketer. I'm not a promoter. It doesn't feel good to be going and pushing my things because sometimes it feels a little selfish. And to have that extra support as somebody who believes in you, who is an advocate for you and is going out and kind of helping with some of that work of pushing what you're creating, I imagine it is really impactful for many of the artists that you work with.
Yeah, so some of the artists that I work with, I kind of help them, from the ground up. Some of the artists, they had the catalog of music, they had the ambition and drive to be an artist, but they didn't know how to gift wrap it up and give it to people in a way so that they could, be able to embrace it. So
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of artists that I work with, some were established and some were just trying to be able to build up, and it's just a lot of things that come into that, especially with friendships, you know what I'm saying, creating just good
Mm-hmm.
relationships with the artists, learning about like emotional things that's been going on and stuff like that. Like I said, it's kind of like a therapist. I learn a lot about the artists and give them insight into a lot of different things. So it's it's business, but then again, there's that relationship that you start with that artist or with that person that you work with so that it could be something that's lifelong instead of just being like, oh, this is just business. And I know a lot of people
Yeah.
say like don't mix with friendships, but working with artists, they can be in their head a lot of the times. They give themselves a
Mm-hmm.
lot of self-criticism. So, me being a
Mm-hmm.
promoter, me being somebody that's in management, I try to work them through those processes so that they don't just, crash off, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of pressure being an artist.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know that you've been putting on a few different events and we've got a few different kind of posters here and kind of some of the promotion work that you've been doing. So tell us a little bit about these events, some of these posters and what's going on. That was the event that you planned for these.
Okay, so this is Painting the Beat with Lola Buckwald. And so me and Lola Buckwald, we sat down. So first, when I first met Lola Buckwald, me and a good friend of mine named Deontay Carter, he is the owner of Positive Energy Only. We
Mm-hmm.
had established an event at a local barbershop in town where we had an art gallery where we allowed local artists in the community to come out and premiere their art to the community and stuff like that. So Lola was actually one of the artists that contacted me and Deontay and wanted to be a part of the event. And so from there, that's when we kind of started the relationship, you know, in terms of events and stuff like that. And so one day she was kind of like, you know, I'm real determined to get my art out there. I really want to, you know, kind of get myself seen in the community and things of that nature. So we kind of just had a meeting where we sat down, like, how can we get your art out there more, not just even in Eugene, but like out to the masses. And so we created Painting the Beat, where it first initiates people in the community, where we're bringing out the talented people in the community mixed with the creative art of Lola Buckwald, because she's a portrait artist. And so her delicate touch with her hands, she's able to create a portrait of the artist. And so with that, we'll be able to highlight the artist, and you can get to know the artist and know a little bit of the background of the artist, plus being able to admire Lola Buckwald's portrait that she creates. And so we try, and so we've did this on a number of occasions. We've created a series. So there's already a series out right now. You can check it out on Dana Life Entertainment on the YouTube channel. So this is now we're coming into this summer. So that was last summer. Now we're in the next year. And so this is Painting the Beat Part 2, where we'll be highlighting local, I would say local artists, but more so people in the community that have paved the way for people of BIPOC and just people in general. So this right here, this picture that you're seeing right now, these are the people that we highlighted in the first series of Painting the Beat. And so each one of those people, they are either a videographer, like Ife, shout out Ife, he's a videographer. Julian Outlaw, you know, he's an artist. And Mia Nectar, she's an artist. Marcus Holloway, he's an artist, you know, and Chosen. And these are all people who are artists in the community, or establishing themselves just as artists and trying to be able to get themselves out.
That's really cool. I love that this event not only highlights Lola as somebody who is an artist that is doing amazing work in our state, but also is really emphasizing and expanding beyond that, and really celebrating the incredible talent that we have right here in our community. That's super exciting, and what a creative idea to be able to highlight artists in that way. So I know we have a poster here for this another one. So tell me about this one. This is your most recent event, right?
Yes. So just recently, last weekend, I was able to collaborate with a woman by the name of Strawberry Pickle. She is located in Portland, Oregon, and she has a venue up there where she allows people of LGBTQ and Black Lives Matter. So anybody who represents with those two groups, she opens up her space, kind of like a Boys and Girls Club, allowing people, you know what I'm saying, to come in. You know, you can use her space to have events. If you're a painter and you want to use her space, kind of like use that aura to kind of paint, you know, she kind of opens the doors up for a lot of people. And so a good friend of mine, Julian Outlaw, he told me that she was allowing people to come through, and she wanted to start having more events. And she opened the business up, I want to say around June. So around that time, you know, COVID was still at its worst. It's not like loose leaf like how it is right now. So he told me that she was going to start allowing people to kind of come in and start having events. So I was kind of first on it, like, hey, you know, when are you want to have event? And she was like, yeah, you know, sooner the better. So you know, we scheduled that out, and I got people from Portland, Oregon, and I also got people from Eugene to come out to this event. So that was good to kind of like have the different perspective of people that's in Portland, Oregon, really see local talent that's in Eugene, and then offering the access for Eugene artists to be able to go up to Portland and do their thing and be able to get more views, and, you know, having more people to kind of look at their music and who they are as people.
That's awesome. And so this is probably one of the first events that a lot of these folks have participated in since this whole past year. So tell me a little bit about kind of what that was like putting on an event right now and ensuring that it was kind of something that could be safe for everyone who was performing, but also safe for everyone who was attending. What was that process like for y'all?
Yeah, so like I said before, I'm more of the person who does more of the event planning. So with this event, I kind of wanted to have a lot of people on board in terms of just support, people who could come in and kind of support me if anything did go wrong in terms of COVID-19 restrictions. I brought in security. I brought in a lot of people who could help me around just floats around the vicinity and things of that nature. So in terms of the planning of the event, I had to be real severe on just the security, the COVID-19 restrictions, making sure that we didn't have everybody in one space, because I think it's 50 people that can be inside, but this venue is inside and outside. So we kind of wanted to regulate the number of people that were outside and the number of people inside. And shout out to Wildcraft Cider Works. That's a local cider house in town. Sean Kelly, I talked to him numerous times before I did the event. He helped me out with having a vendor come out, and the people that he brought down, the people who were representing Wildcraft, they were really communicative with me, making sure like the people who came up, they had their IDs, making sure that they had masks and things of that nature. So just like making sure that the people I brought into this event, they were just focusing on that nothing went wrong in terms of COVID-19 restrictions, because OLCC does not play.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that's really exciting to hear. And I imagine, it's one of those things that we're kind of in this space now, especially as we've gone down to low risk here in Lane County, at least. This idea of starting to think about, okay, how can we start to gather again? How can we start to be in community with one another and do it in a way that is really safe and really respectful of those who are participating in that space. And, that was a big concern, I know, at the beginning of the pandemic, is for performing artists, especially. It's kind of like, okay, like maybe others are willing to come to the audience, but I'm not ready to perform, and be in this space with this. But to know that now we know what are some of the standards for greater safety. We understand how we can enforce maybe mask policies or different forms of kind of protective preventative efforts, and to know that that's something that we can start experimenting with. And, it's really exciting to hear that you were able to have a really successful event and have an event that, people felt empowered to attend. And that's a really exciting thing for us to start thinking about as a community, is how can we ensure that people feel empowered, feel safe, feel that there's a care going into the type of events that they're attending. So thanks for your leadership on that. That's really cool to hear about.
Yeah, so that was my main goal, because I had an event. I think it was like right in between when COVID just started, and so I had an event, and that was like the main precaution that I was having with people who were talking about the event. People that were talking about that were coming to the event, they were just more concerned about the COVID-19 precautions. And like you said before, like with this event that I just had last weekend, it was just like a great opportunity for artists to get out there, because, some of those artists haven't performed in over a year. So they were just like so excited. You know what I mean? They were happy that I was on it in terms of the COVID-19 restrictions, because a lot of them, like you say, they were worried about that. They're like, I don't want to get on stage, and, we got a bunch of people in the crowd that don't got masks on, you never know. So, I just made sure that they were comfortable. I made sure the patrons were comfortable. And that's just a big thing right now with moving forward with events and stuff like that, is making sure that people are just comfortable when they come to these occasions.
Yeah. Well, let's move forward and hear a little bit more about some of the artists that you represent. So tell us about how you select artists when you choose to represent them, and what is your recruitment process?
So in terms of the people I work with right now, I would say it was more of kind of just a genuine interactions. I'm just putting myself out there. I'm doing my work in the community and things of that nature. And they just kind of hit me up, like, with Lola Buckwald, she just kind of came and just hit me up and was like, hey, what's going on? And, from there, we kind of established the connection. We just started doing work, and, we're still going forward. With Mia Multiplied, it was more of me seeing her as an author. She was already established. She already has a publishing company. And so from there, she kind of seen my expertise. Like how you said, I have a lot of this work. I know what I'm doing in terms of my work, but I just need somebody to kind of help me market it. And from there, she kind of seen my expertise. She seen that I was good as being a marketer, good as being a promoter. And from there, she just kind of put her trust into me. And from there, we just been working, cracking down on different things, seeing the reactions from what I've been putting out in terms of promotion. And with Aiden James, a good friend of mine who's an artist, I was working with him, and he just kind of told me about the video, this videographer, like, hey man, he's an up and coming videographer. He's trying to get himself out there, and he kind of just came into fruition. So the people I work with right now, it was just kind of natural, just kind of just happened, and we're just working hard and we're doing our thing right now. In terms of a recruiter process, just DM me. You know what I'm saying? Just hit me up if you want to send me a message. If you're a local artist, if you're a painter, if you're somebody that needs help with marketing strategies, promotion, whatever the case it may be, feel free to contact me. I got my phone number on my Facebook. You know what I'm saying? I got my email as well. So, for anybody that's willing to, just get the movement going in terms of their artistry and wanting to be able to move forward, just hit up Day in the Life Entertainment and we'll work.
That's awesome. And for anybody who is an artist out there who is really excited about kind of what Treylon is offering here, in the comment section, you'll see that there are plenty of links down there in one of the comments, including all the links to be able to access Treylon, as well as information about all the other artists that we're going to hear a little bit more about today. And it sounds like one of the first artists we're going to hear about is Aiden, and we have one of his videos here that is available to show. So let's jump over there and check that out. Is there any introduction that you want to give before we watch the video?
Yes. So Aiden James collaborated with a local business, a local clothing business called Checks Only. And so they collaborated on a commercial where they could promote his brand.
Awesome. Cool. Well, let's jump over there and watch the video.
Let's get it.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about kind of how you support the promotion of somebody like a videographer. I imagine that contract, was that something that was in place prior to the partnership, or is that something you helped him kind of line up?
Yeah. So, with the number of artists that I work with, they're always looking for visuals to put out in terms of putting themselves out there. And so, with music comes videography. And so with Aiden James, what we established is, with the people that I work with in terms of the artists, I try to offer assistance in terms of, like, I got connections to a videographer if you need help with a videographer getting music videos out there. And so from there, the artists that I've been working with, they team up with Aiden, and kind of Aiden does his thing and kind of gets his work out there and kind of shouts me out. And we do it vice versa. So, when Aiden does his thing, he shouts me out, lets people know, like, hey, thanks to Day in the Life Entertainment, I was able to work with this artist and things of that nature, and vice versa.
Awesome. Well, that's so cool. And I mean, you can see he's got such incredible skill, from the sound editing, the incredible videography, the video edit. The whole thing had just a great pace to it and such a great energy. Does he kind of compose his own kind of soundtracks with that as well, or does he partner with folks on the kind of the sound that he uses with his videos?
So Aiden is very unique. He either contacts producers and asks for sound bits. Sometimes he pays for these sound bits. Sometimes, a generous producer might give him some tracks that he can use. He also goes online and kind of looks up different sounds that kind of goes with the videos and stuff like that. The guy's creative. He's a chef when he does his work with the videos. He can take something from nothing and turn it into something. he amazes me every time for sure.
I love that. That's absolutely fantastic. Well, we have another artist here of yours to be able to learn a little bit more about, and that's Lola Buckwald, right?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about Lola, and I'll pull up some of her art while we're talking about her.
So Lola Buckwald, from what I know, she's from Mapleton, Oregon. You know, she's a self-taught portrait artist. She's also a graphic designer, and like I said before, she's self-taught. You know, she kind of worked her way up. You know, in terms of her artistry. You know, we kind of teamed up from there, and just kind of want to take her artistry to the next level. And from learning from Lola Buckwald, she has connections that I didn't know, you know, since she because I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. So being out here, I had to build a lot of these relationships with different resources. And with Lola, she already has herself established in the community. She has a lot of different people that support her, you know, with the Painting the Beat part 2. Shout out to Black Girl in Eugene. Shout out to Happy, you know, shout out to Michelle Holman. You know, these is people that she contacted and kind of reached out and was able to get them to be sponsors and things of that nature. So like I said, she's just a self-taught portrait artist that does her thing, and she does it very well.
Amazing. And it seems pretty clear that you mentioned, I think, that she really focuses on celebrating BIPOC artists. This looks like Frida right here. Is that correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And so on her website, www.lolabuckwald.com, you can see a lot of her previous arts. You can see a lot of merchandise. She has stickers, magnets. You know, she's building herself up for sure.
Amazing. So we'll look at a couple more pieces. For some reason, my photo wouldn't switch over, so apologies for needing to look at my file share system there.
It's all good. We're doing the art share.
Yeah, this is live stream. Y'all are watching it.
Yeah.
And actually, we got Lola tuning in. Thanks for being here, Lola, for tuning in. Some love and fire there. Thank you. So excited to see you here. So tell us a little bit more about some of her other pieces and how you've kind of helped work with her in some of these pieces that you've helped her promote. I know you said the events.
She has a lot of different art pieces. I know from when we talked before, she's also been able to teach people how to be able to do paintings and stuff like that. So she does a good job being a mentor in terms of painting, because she's a self-taught painter. So, you know, for her to be able to mentor people and have people practice painting is just wonderful. It's dope how she does that. In terms of us and how we collaborate, we're able to get her images on clothing. Like, you know, this image that I have right now, I don't know if you see it, but, you know, it's my face. You know, I don't know if you can see it, but that's my face. And that image is something and that image is something that Lola Buckwald created. You know what I'm saying? So we team up on creating merchandise from the artists that we work with. She does a great job with painting iconic figures. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people who are great influencers on this life or past life that we've had.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. It looks like amazing work. And, you know, this really brings me into another question that I'd love to kind of talk a little bit about is thinking about kind of BIPOC artists. And this is something that's clear Lola is really focusing on, is really promoting and highlighting and celebrating Black, Indigenous, and artists of color in our community and beyond, internationally through memory as well. So tell us a little bit about, kind of from your perspective, you know, how can our community, because the reality is we do live in a community that unfortunately does not celebrate our BIPOC artists as well as we certainly could. There's plenty of room for improvement there. And sometimes I think we get caught up in focusing on what's missing rather than how we can actually start making change to support and promote and celebrate. So what do you see in our community, kind of as a member of it, that you think we can do to better support BIPOC artists in our area and across the state?
You know, first I would say is kind of get out your comfort zone. You know, I see from living here, a lot of people, they like to be in their comfort zone. You know, they like to listen to the same things. You know what I'm saying? Again, you got to think about Eugene. You know, a large percentage of the population is taken up by college kids and stuff like that. So, exclude them from the point. They listen to the top 100. We all know, like, people come in and out of here in terms of college kids, but for the locals, for sure, like, if you got to get out your comfort zone, if you got, because there's BIPOC artists who are moving here from different places to Eugene, but then you also have BIPOC artists who are from Eugene, born and raised. And it's like, I meet them and then I get to know them, and I'm like, where's the support? And he was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So, you kind of got to get out your comfort zone. That'll be the first thing. And for anybody that's kind of like, an introvert or just kind of like to stay in their own bubble, you got to kind of get yourself out of that state. You know what I'm saying? Because these are people that kind of give their all, and they kind of need locals. They need the local community to support them so that they can make a means of income to support their families. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand this. Like, when you're a local artist, you put everything into it. You put your own money into it. You put your own energy. You're not signed to a label, so you don't have like a big amount of money that's going to be, given to you. And then you got to do what you got to do with this money. Like, some people are paycheck to paycheck, and with that paycheck, they put that into their artistry. And so, another thing I would say for the community is go out and help these artists. Even if you're an introvert, if you're a person that don't like social settings, look up your local artists and go on their page, share some of their music, go to Spotify, figure out where their platforms are and start posting it on your page. Let people know in your bubble, know who this person is. You don't necessarily have to go out to every show, even buy the merchandise, even just share it, share their stuff, because these are people who are putting, like I said, they're putting their own money into it, and they really need that interaction to be able to still keep going. Like a lot of local artists, anywhere, a lot of local artists, they stop because they see that the people that's closest to them are not even supporting them. So they're like, why should I even try to keep going? Because even the person that's next to me not even giving me no show, or not even giving me no love for what I'm trying to do. And so, if you're a local artist out there and you listen to this, keep going. You know what I'm saying? From me to you, keep going. Don't matter what nobody tell you. Keep living out your dreams. Hey, I wouldn't say give your last dollar, but if you got to eat oodles and noodles, hey, grind it out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Or hit me up. I can help you, you know what I'm saying? But that's one thing I would say to the community is try to support these local artists because they're trying to do the best that they can with what they got.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned support comes in a lot more ways. I mean, investment is a big one. Like, invest in the arts. That's a really big message. I think that's important to take away, especially invest in our artists that we really want to see thrive and that we want to create this space and build and make sure that there is a carved out space that is inviting, welcoming, and celebratory of the unique gifts that they're bringing to our community, because it makes us a stronger community to have a greater range of artistry represented. And investment is a big part of that. But also, if investment isn't possible for you, because that's true, there's a lot of people who want to support the arts, but maybe can't make that big investment that others are able to. That sharing, that pushing, that promoting that you're talking about, that makes a huge difference, because there's also that emotional investment. And I think you're speaking real words that are universally, I think, experienced for artists across the community, is especially in this age where things can get, you do all this work to do the social media promotion and then Facebook hides it, or you do all this work to try and get like a poster out there and then it's buried in the 20 more posters, and this feeling of being hidden or not really finding the space to be seen or be recognized in what you're trying to put out there, it can be a really draining process. And so by being that person who does click the share button, the artist is seeing that, right? They're seeing the number of shares that came out on that post. They're seeing the number of views that went on that video that they spent hours and hours and a lot of collaborative time on. And so being that person who's giving an extra view, giving an extra push, that really does make a huge difference. I really love what you shared there. I want to jump to another side of the conversation here and kind of acknowledging the reality of Oregon and Eugene specifically, is that we are still carrying forward the legacy of the state. And the legacy of the state was built on one that's exclusionary. And we had racial exclusionary laws in our state and in our community far beyond many other states actually in the union. And the legacy of the United States continues to carry that in every single corner of our nation. But in thinking about kind of some of these real barriers that exist in our community, you know, what do you think are some of the barriers that need to be broken down to create a more welcoming and inviting and celebratory environment for BIPOC artists?
So there's a stigma on hip hop and rap music, that it's all negative, it's all bad, it's harsh, and I feel like, that stigma that has, it prevents people from supporting people who fall under those genres. And
Mm,
so, being that we're in Oregon, which has a past history of, not even allowing African Americans to be in the state, you
mhm,
kind of gotta have an open mind when you look at things nowadays, because some of these, like I said, some of these people are coming from different states, and they're coming here and they're just trying to be able to kind of make a way for themselves. Or even if a person who is African American, who grew up in Eugene, Oregon, and they're like, why would I want to be a hip hop or an R&B artist or a rap artist if the place don't even really promote that? Or if
mhm,
the place really didn't even allow that before. That discourages somebody. So, one thing I would say just for the city of Eugene is embrace BIPOC artists, because, you know, if you really want to be progressive and you really want to say that, you want to help out the cause, and you really want to help people out, really be in those settings, really put yourself in those positions. Not saying like you got to go out there every day and stuff like that, but you really got to focus on these people, because these people have a message. Like,
mm,
I'm good friends with a lot of BIPOC artists, and I'm one to say that not everything in their music is foul, negative, you know what I'm
mhm,
saying? And trying to put people down, or just, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Like a lot of their music is therapy. There's a lot of people going through things right now during this COVID that have been going through it for a number of years, and their music is therapeutic for those people. I can talk for a number of people who listen to the BIPOC artists that I know, and their reactions from when I talk to them about that artist, they're like, yeah, man, they helped me with a lot of things.
mm,
Recite the verses, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. Like, when I listen to this song, you know what I'm saying, I kind of get into this feeling where I'm just ambitious and I want to do things, and I go outside and I'm like, dang, you usually hear that from like a top 100 artist, but a local artist is giving you that feeling. And these is from people that's not of color. So you know what I'm saying? That
mhm,
tells you,
mhm,
when that person that's not of color, gets out their bubble, gets out their space, and starts to go and find out about that local artist, and really realizes
mhm,
like, dang, he isn't talking about negativity. He's actually talking about uplifting. And I really like that.
mhm.
And they can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I love that the setting aside our assumptions as a really
right.
important part of that breaking down the barriers is that we hold the barriers in ourselves often. And I think that's a hard thing sometimes to fully recognize is what is the bias that I bring into this art form? What is the bias that I have about this art form? And how can I challenge myself to move to look at that bias and confront it and really look at it head on and say, okay, why do I hold this? And start to confront that and shift, because that takes a lot of effort. And it's really important for us, especially as white community members, to make sure that we're not seeing the default art form as the white forms that are most often expressed by white artists, but start to look at the full range of artistry and see that a lot of art that the white community expresses is co-opted art that started in BIPOC communities. That is truthful about almost every form of music that is today recognized in like our nation as like top hits. Is it started in the BIPOC communities? It started with these artists who were expressing resilience through their art forms. And it's so important for us to recognize that those biases that we hold is the co-opted perception of the
Right.
work that has been created. So I really appreciate you saying that. And the other thing I think about too is we also are in a community where there is co-option, right? That there is co-opted art that is being expressed, and that doesn't, there's celebratory art, and there's collaborative art, and there is appreciative art. And if we're only investing in that co-opted art that is being created by white artists and not investing in that same art that is being created by our BIPOC artists, there is a bias that is going into what we are choosing to invest in that may be really implicit and below the surface, but that's something for us to be reflecting on is where are we investing? Who are we investing in? And that's work that we need to do as white community members, is really confront that conversation and be honest with ourselves of, why do I want to invest in this artist, and am I not feeling empowered to invest in this artist? And how can I look at myself and see how I can step myself into that space of discomfort that you're talking about, to be able to expose myself to this additional perspective and really change my perspective, because that's what art is all about. It's about that
Right.
growth you get to have in the relationship with the art itself.
Art equals perspective. You know what I mean? Art equals perspective. And you make a good point, because, you know, from my experience being in Eugene, that's what I see a lot of the times. You know, you see a white artist get paid more than the black artist, you know, and it's like, you know, look, you know, you give credit where credit's due, but at the end of the day, you know, you can't just pay somebody a higher wage off of the color. You know what I'm saying? Like, give that opportunity the same way that you would give the other person. You know what I mean? And, you know, I'm just talking. I'm not trying to put no names on this. I'm just saying, for local venues out here, please stop doing this. Please stop doing this. Stop paying white artists more than BIPOC artists. Please stop doing this, because you are already segregating things right there. Art is perspective. At the end of the day, we're not saying that somebody, you know, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. We're not saying that somebody who's white can't rap, or he can't be an R&B artist, or he can't be a hip hop artist. Go, you know, if you're talented, you're talented. You know what I'm saying? But once you start to say, like, oh, okay, we're gonna give this person higher wage because he's more acceptable in the community because of his skin color, there's a problem. There's a major problem when you want to segregate. Okay, you know, this person's very good at his artistry, but look at the skin color. You know what I'm saying? These are things that we got to start to look at. So just for anybody that's tuning in, that's a part of local venues, or a part of music halls, or anything like that. Like I said, I'm not trying to put this on anybody. I'm not trying to put nothing of this on anybody. But understand, you know, creativity, artists, the arts is perspective. There isn't no higher wage, lower wage. Everybody should be able to make the money that they should make through art.
Amazing. Thank you for that, and for saying it so openly and honestly, because I think, yeah, looking at the things that are happening that are either explicit or implicit, both of them have impact, and that's something that we need to be better at as a community. Well, thank you so much for getting deep into this conversation. I want to move forward and continue to highlight some of the great artists that you represent. And I believe the next one that we have is Mia Mays Bowman. Do you want to and we have a video here that you created with her. Do you want to give any introduction to this before we jump into the video?
So Mia Mays Bowman, aka Mia Multiplied, you know, she's a registered nurse. She's just a phenomenal person. Very, 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 very just, you know, therapeutic when you talk to her. She really knows about a lot. She's helped me in terms of talking with her, you know, with problems that I've dealt with. So with Mia, like I said, she has a publishing company, He Promised Publications. She's an author as well. And she's been doing this for the past, you know, 10 years, where, you know, she's creating books, she's creating content. And she also has cooking books and cooking recipes, cooking tutorials for people who are trying to live a healthier lifestyle. So yeah, that's Mia Multiplied.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to pull up this video, and I'm going to keep our videos up. And Treylon, go ahead and just cut me off whenever you feel like you want to stop the video, okay?
All good.
That's cool. That's cool. Mia?
My book, The History of the Promise Bible Handbook, is a teaching guide. I use a lot of Aramaic and Hebrew text, trying to get down to as close to what it was in the beginning as possible, to really teach what the Bible says, just using 11 books of the Bible, and how learning these 11 books on a really solid level is all you really need to get into the kingdom.
What inspired you to create this book?
Well, and I know we've got a few pictures of some of her stuff here, so let me go ahead and pull that up. So it looks like this is a logo for her publication company.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He Promised Publications.
And then tell us a little bit about kind of this Raw 101 recipes. You were mentioning that she is also a cook, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Mia, she like highlights a lot of dishes that are vegan or vegetarian. She has an upcoming book that she's coming out with that's called The Alternate Eatery. It will be a book that she'll be highlighting various recipes that she's created over time, new recipes, old recipes, and like it ties all back into you know, if anybody's out there that's Hebrew, just a healthier diet, you know, trying to steer away from meat, especially in African American community. We fall victim a lot to high blood pressure, you know what I'm saying? So with Mia, she's just trying to be able to create books that can help out people who are trying to eat healthier, or if you're trying to look at dishes that can be able to benefit you and your family for the years to come.
I love that. And the food looks delicious. Just looking at some of these pictures. I mean, I would chow this down so hard. That looks so good.
Again, you know, what's great with working with Mia is I get to go over her house and I get to try all the new recipes. So you know what I'm saying? It'd be good.
Yeah, talk about the real benefits of the job there. That's fantastic. So in this kind of partnership with her, you're working really closely with her to help her kind of promote. Is promotion of her books like the main partnership that you two have together?
Right. So promotion of the books, trying to grow her social media platforms. You know, she has a great following on Twitter. You know, on Instagram, I'm trying to build her up some more on there. Facebook as well. You can follow her, you know, Mia Multiplied on Facebook, Instagram, and she also has a YouTube channel, Mia Multiplied. And yeah, so I'm just trying to be able to market her and get more people in the community and everywhere just to know who she is and what she has to offer to the world.
Amazing. Well, and it's really cool because you created that interview series that you sat down and did with her about her book that was with the other gentleman who was also working on promoting his book. So tell me a little bit about some of those video interviews that you've created and what are some of your goals with those interviews and where can people watch more of them?
Yeah, so first, you can find those videos on my platform on YouTube, Day in the Life Entertainment. And so with those interviews, like the author interview / discussion, I just wanted to create a way where both Victor Keefe and Mia Multiplied could be able to promote their books to the community, but just to kind of give people a way to kind of look into who they are as people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, where did you get this idea to be this, you know, self-author? You know what I'm saying? Being an author is very hard, you know, or you know, being an artist is very hard. And so with the interviews, you know, I just want people to really look into who the artist is. And so they're just not just like, oh, you know, they're, you know, because the saying, you know, the artist speak for itself. You know, we're living in a day and age, you know, you got to be wary of who you buying your stuff from, because you don't want to be buying your stuff from somebody that's, you know, not particularly, you know, not particularly a good choice of a person to be buying products from in terms of his, he or she personal life. And so, you know, the interviews that I'm trying to be able to create, I'm just trying to be able to have more insight so that people looking in, they can be like, oh, okay, you know, if they could, you know, have similar ways of going about things or similar perspectives or anything like that. So with the interviews, I just want people to be more engaging. I want people to, you know, reflect off the interviews that, you know, the interviewer or the interviewee is having, you know, so that they can relate.
I love it. So for those who are watching and you're interested in seeing a little bit more of some of those videos, again, down in the pinned comment section, there is a link right over there to the Day in the Life Entertainment YouTube page. Definitely go check them out, learn about all the amazing artists that Treylon has gotten to speak with, and the continuation, I'm sure, of more videos that will be to come. So kind of in thinking about some of this promotion work that you've been doing and that you did put on an event recently up in Portland, you know, I guess I'm curious to hear from you. What are some of your hopes for our community as in-person events start to pop back up a little bit and start to be allowed as well? You know, now that we're in the low risk group, that means outdoor groups, gatherings of up to 300 people with proper social distancing is feasible. So tell us a little bit about what are some of your hopes? What would you love to see start to happen this summer, assuming that we're able to continue to stay in this kind of low risk area, if not better?
I want everybody in the city of Eugene to come to my event.
Tell us, what are some of the events that you got coming up? Do you have anything that's in the works for this summer that you're working toward?
I was just contacted. I'm not gonna say any names or anything like that, but I was just contacted to be able to help with the upcoming Juneteenth event. So if anybody is aware, I'm gonna say about two years ago, there was an event at Alton Baker Park where it was the celebration of Juneteenth, where it highlighted a number, like so many different businesses, so many different BIPOC businesses in the community. So just be on the lookout for June, because we might be bringing something to the community.
Amazing. And for those who may be furiously Googling right now, can you give us a little overview of what Juneteenth is and kind of what that's celebrating and remembering?
So Juneteenth is a celebration of, African Americans. Juneteenth is a way so that you can be able to understand the history of African Americans. A lot of people, they don't understand that Juneteenth is a way to look back on the treacherous things that have happened to African Americans in this country. And so, being that, United States of America is a place that was built up on the backs of African Americans. Juneteenth is a way so that people will understand the brilliance, just the power, the ambition that African Americans have, and be able to support them on that day.
Awesome. That's fantastic. And as I understand it too, it's also the day originated in Texas as kind of the African American Independence Day, in the sense that it was the last community to be told slavery was abolished, which was years after slavery was abolished. And so kind of a continuation also of the reminder that progress, while it is it moves slowly. And even it's a reminder that even as we have a date that slavery was abolished, it doesn't mean that slavery ended that day. And in the same way that we think about civil rights as an action that we have had today, it doesn't mean that it ends as soon as we, pass a law. There's a lot of work that is continued to be done. So I know that that's another layer of it. But that's absolutely fantastic and super exciting to hear that there's more celebration and more, because that was such a big event, I know, last year, and really important for so many people
for sure.
When that happened last year.
For sure. Yeah, Juneteenth, from what I'm aware, Juneteenth hasn't been celebrated that much in the city of Eugene. So, we're just trying to be able to revamp it and get people aware of what that day really means to African Americans.
Amazing. Well, Treylon, thank you so much for this conversation. It's been so rich. I have one final question for you. I ask all of the folks who come on the happy hour, where are you finding inspiration right now?
I'm finding my inspiration right now from going outside and enjoying the sun to, people that I'm working with, and just seeing the ambition, the drive that they have to keep going during COVID. I'm finding inspiration.
We might have just lost Treylon. I think he just froze on us, but hopefully he'll be back in just a second. There you are. I think we can hear you back.
I
was like, he disappeared. He froze for a second. Sorry, you were saying the inspiration of going outside and the people kind of like persevering through COVID is a little bit of what I heard at the very end before you froze.
Right. So I get inspiration just going on walks. You know what I'm saying? It's starting to get a lot brighter outside. So, just going outside and kind of seeing how things are kind of progressively moving with COVID, that's starting to give me just faith that I can keep going with my business and keep hitting home with what I'm trying to do with my message. Just the things that I'm working with in terms of the people I'm working with right now. I'm gaining a lot of inspiration with that because I'm seeing the progress. I'm just seeing the progress even through the COVID. A lot of different things, projects that I'm working on. They started during the beginning of COVID, and so to see it right now, I'm just like, wow. if we can get through COVID, we can get through anything. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting a lot of inspiration from that for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. The perseverance that we have certainly learned that lives within us. I think none of us knew how much we harnessed inside of ourselves and in our community, of course, as well. Well, Treylon, thank you so much. This has been such a rich and wonderful conversation. Thank you for being on the show today. And hopefully we're going to be hearing from some of those artists that you mentioned today later on in the live stream happy hour in later weeks. So please do continue to tune in for the live stream and look out for it. Also, definitely go and check out all of those links that are in the pinned comments to learn more about Day in the Life Entertainment, as well as Lola, Mia, and Aiden, who we got to hear a little bit more about today. And continue to invest and support their art that they are putting out there for all of us to enjoy and love. We will be back next week for another episode of the Livestream Happy Hour. I will not be here as your host. We will actually be having Carrie Welch will be stepping in as host to be able to speak with Fermata Ballet. So definitely stop in and join us again next week. That'll be happening at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. Treylon, thank you so much. Any final words or any final promotion pieces you want to put in there before we jump off?
Y'all have a nice day in your life.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all, and we'll see you again very soon.